That night, I woke up to the sound of chains dragging across the floor. When I turned my head, he was standing at the edge of the bed, smiling. But it wasn't my husband's face anymore. It looked like him, but the eyes, they were black, hollow, and cold like a grave. That was the moment I realized I married something that wasn't human. My name is Amara, and I never believed in witchcraft or curses. I grew up in a small village where people still whispered about river spirits and ancestral pacts, but I always thought those were just old stories. Then I met Chike. He was handsome, quiet, and had this calm smile that could melt anyone's guard. He came to our town one year during a festival, said he was starting a business and wanted to build a life here. He helped people fix their roofs, gave money to the old women selling vegetables. Everyone loved him. I did too. Maybe too much. My mother warned me once. Amara, that boy's eyes don't smile when his mouth does. I laughed. I wish I had listened. The night before our wedding, it rained heavily. The thunder wouldn't stop, and the lightning flashed like angry spirits in the sky. I couldn't sleep, so I decided to pray. Then I saw something from my window, Chike standing under the rain, facing the river, not moving, not even blinking. I called his name, no answer. When I went outside, he was gone. The next morning, he acted like nothing happened. He even joked about how he couldn't wait to marry me. But his eyes looked darker somehow. I should have known something was wrong. After we got married, small things started happening. Every night at 3 a.m., the bed would shake lightly, like someone walking past it. I'd wake up to hear footsteps in the hallway, but when I checked, no one was there. Chike always slept peacefully, or pretended to. One night, I saw him standing in front of the mirror, whispering. He wasn't praying. I heard him call my name in a tone that didn't sound human. When I asked, he said I was dreaming. But when I checked the mirror later, there were fingerprints on the inside of the glass. I told my mother everything. She said I should visit the village priest, a man known to see through spirits. When the priest saw me, he said, "You have tied your soul to something not born of a woman." I felt my blood freeze. He gave me salt and holy water and told me to sprinkle it around the house before midnight. That night, when I sprinkled it, Chike screamed in his sleep, a scream that shook the whole room. When he woke up, he had no memory of it. But from that day, he started avoiding sunlight. He stayed indoors all day, and only smiled when the lights were off. One evening, I followed him secretly. He left home after midnight and went to the same river from before. I hid behind the trees and watched. He knelt beside the river, whispering into the water, and something, a hand, came out and touched his face. A cold, slimy, inhuman hand. Then he turned, like he could feel me watching, and his eyes, they glowed blue in the dark. I ran. He came home before me and pretended to be asleep. But I couldn't pretend anymore. That was when I knew the man I loved wasn't just hiding secrets, he was one. The priest told me the only way to break the bond was to call his name 3 times before dawn and pour salt in his shadow. But that night, the rain returned, heavier than before. At exactly 3 a.m., Chike stood at the foot of the bed again. The lights flickered. I whispered his name once. He smiled. Twice, the windows shattered. The third time, he screamed, and his shadow rose from the floor like smoke, twisting and hissing. I threw the salt, and everything went silent. When I opened my eyes, Chike was gone, just a pool of water on the floor. The next morning, the river behind our house had turned dark, like blood mixed with mud. People said he drowned. No one found his body. But every rainy night, I hear chains dragging across the floor again. Sometimes, I wake up to see water dripping from the ceiling, though the roof is fine. Sometimes, I hear his voice whisper, "You should have let me in, Amara." And I realize, maybe some vows don't end with death. Maybe they just change form. I should have known you're an enemy, not a life partner.